Ever wondered how to make the perfect chicken soup? Well, you're in the right place. Today, we're going on a culinary adventure, uncovering the secrets to crafting a chicken soup that's not just good, but soul-warming and absolutely delicious. We'll guide you through each step, ensuring you're well-equipped to create this comforting classic. Whether you're a seasoned cook or a beginner, there's something for everyone to learn. So grab your aprons and prepare to dive into the art of soup making. First things first, we need to gather the right ingredients. We'll be using a whole chicken, about 3 to 4 pounds in weight. Add to that 2 carrots, 2 celery stalks, and 1 large onion, all chopped. You'll also need 3 minced cloves of garlic, 2 bay leaves, a teaspoon of thyme, and some salt and pepper to taste. Don't forget the fresh parsley for garnish and 8 cups of water. You can also add noodles or rice if you like. Remember, the quality of your ingredients directly influences the flavor of your soup, so choose fresh and organic if possible. Now, on to the star of our show, the chicken. This humble fowl is the heart and soul of our soup, providing a rich, hearty flavor that ties everything together. But before it can take center stage, we need to prepare it properly. First things first, we want to rinse our chicken under cold running water. This helps to remove any residual bits from the butcher and ensures we're starting with a clean slate. And remember, always wash your hands after handling raw chicken to prevent the spread of bacteria. Next, we're going to pat our chicken dry using paper towels. This might seem like an unnecessary step, but it's actually key to getting a clear, beautiful broth. Water on the surface of the chicken can lead to a cloudy broth, but by patting the chicken dry, we're ensuring a clean, pure base for our soup. Now, it's time to move our chicken into its temporary home, a large pot. This pot is where our chicken will transform from a raw, unassuming bird into a flavorful, aromatic contribution to our soup. Place the chicken into the pot, breast side down. Next, we cover our chicken with about 8 cups of cold water. It's important to use cold water here, as it helps to extract the maximum flavor from our chicken. If we were to use hot water, the outside of the chicken would cook too quickly, preventing the flavors from fully developing. Make sure the chicken is completely submerged in the water. If it's not, don't be shy to add a bit more water until it is. The key here is to ensure the chicken is fully covered so that every bit of it contributes to our broth. With our chicken prepped and ready, we can move to flavoring our base. But that's a story for the next scene. For now, let's revel in the satisfaction of having perfectly prepared our chicken, the star of our show, for its soup-making debut. The broth is the soul of our soup, so let's make it rich and flavorful. As the cornerstone of our chicken soup, the broth requires careful attention and a delicate hand. It's where our humble ingredients transform into a symphony of flavors, a savory ballet that tickles the taste buds and warms the heart. To start, let's introduce our pot of chicken to its new best friends, the chopped onions, carrots, and celery. These veggies are more than just a colorful trio. They're the backbone of our broth, lending their fresh, earthy tones to our liquid gold. And let's not forget our minced garlic, a tiny powerhouse that punches above its weight class in flavor. Next, we're going to invite in the herbs and seasonings. We've got bay leaves and thyme, 2 classic soup companions that bring a touch of the forest to our kitchen. A generous pinch of salt and pepper will balance and enhance the flavors, turning our broth from simple to sublime. It's like turning up the volume on your favorite song, letting you savor every note. Now it's time to crank up the heat. Bring the pot to a boil over medium-high heat and then dial it back to a gentle simmer. This is where the magic happens. Over the next hour and a half, our ingredients will dance and mingle, their flavors fusing together in a slow, sultry samba. This slow cooking process is crucial to our broth's depth of flavor, allowing all the savory goodness from our ingredients to seep into the water. But wait, what's that foam doing on the surface? That's just impurities from the chicken making their escape. Skim it off with a spoon, and you're back to a clear, clean broth. It's like weeding a garden, a little bit of effort for a beautiful result. As the broth simmers, you'll notice the aroma filling your kitchen. It's a cozy, comforting scent, like a soft blanket on a chilly day. It's the smell of home, of warmth, and of love. It's the smell of chicken soup. And there you have it, the art of making broth. It's a simple process, but one that requires patience and attention to detail. It's where we lay the groundwork for our chicken soup, building the flavors from the ground up. Remember to skim off any foam that forms on the surface to ensure a clear and delicious broth. Remember, the journey to a perfect chicken soup is a labor of love. It's about more than just ingredients and steps. It's about the care and attention you put into every stage of the process. And trust me, when you taste the final result, you'll see that it's worth it. With our broth ready, we can now turn our attention to preparing the soup. The tantalizing aroma of the simmering broth should be filling your kitchen by now, teasing your senses and whetting your appetite. But hold tight, we still have a few steps to go before you can indulge in your homemade chicken soup. Let's start by carefully removing the chicken from the pot. Use a pair of tongs or a large slotted spoon for this task. It's important to be gentle and try not to break the chicken apart. Set it aside on a clean chopping board or a large plate and let it cool. Remember, patience is key. We don't want to burn our fingers while handling hot chicken. While the chicken is cooling, let's turn our focus back to the broth. We're going to strain it to ensure our soup is smooth and clear. Use a large fine mesh sieve or a colander lined with cheesecloth for this step. Be sure to have a clean pot ready underneath to catch the strained broth. Pour the broth slowly and watch as the sieve catches the vegetable bits and herbs, leaving you with a beautiful, clear and aromatic broth. It's almost like liquid gold, isn't it? Now back to our cooled chicken. It's time to get a little hands-on. We're going to shred the chicken. Start by removing the skin and setting it aside. Next, using your fingers or a pair of forks, gently pull the meat off the bones. Try to get as much meat as possible, but remember to discard any bones or cartilage. With the chicken shredded and the broth strained, we're now ready to bring them back together. Return the shredded chicken to the pot of broth. This is where our soup really starts to take shape. But we're not done yet. We have some fresh vegetables to add. Chop up some more carrots and celery. Yes, fresh ones. We add these towards the end so they retain their vibrant color and crunch, adding a lovely texture to our soup. Once these are in the pot, give it a good stir. Watch as the colors mix and meld, creating a visual feast that's just as pleasing as the aroma wafting from the pot. Now that our soup is coming together, we're just a few steps away from a hearty bowl of chicken soup. It's been a journey, hasn't it? From prepping the chicken, to simmering the broth, to shredding and straining, and finally adding in fresh veggies. But it's all worth it. Because the result is a pot full of comforting, heartwarming, and utterly delicious chicken soup. Now let's move on to our final touches. It's time for the final touches. Our journey to the perfect chicken soup is almost complete. We've prepared our ingredients, we've lovingly simmered our chicken, and we've created a rich, flavorful broth. Now, as we enter the final stages of this culinary adventure, we're going to bring everything together. Let's get our pot back on the heat, bringing our soup to a gentle boil. This is where our fresh carrots and celery really start to shine. You'll want to let the soup simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes, just until the vegetables are tender. Remember, we want them to have a bit of a bite, a crunch that contrasts beautifully with the tender, shredded chicken. And while our soup is simmering, we have a chance to perfect our seasoning. You've heard the phrase, season to taste, right? Well, this is where it comes into play. Grab a spoon and take a taste of the broth. What do you think? Does it need a little more salt, a touch more pepper, maybe a sprinkle of thyme? This is your soup, after all. You're the artist here, and the soup is your canvas. So paint with your flavors, add a little of this, a little of that, until you've got it just right. As you adjust the seasoning, remember that it's always better to start with less. You can always add more, but you can't take it back once it's in there. So, add your seasonings a little at a time, tasting as you go, and that's it. With those final adjustments, our soup is complete. We've taken simple ingredients and transformed them into something truly special. A soup that's not only delicious, but also packed with nutrients, warmth, and love. All that's left to do now is to ladle it into bowls, garnish with a sprinkle of fresh parsley, and serve it up to your eager diners. With these final steps, our chicken soup is ready to be savored. Let's quickly recap the steps we've taken to create our delicious chicken soup. We started with a selection of fresh ingredients, including a whole chicken, vegetables, herbs, and spices. Remember, the quality of your ingredients reflects directly on the taste of your soup, so choose wisely. Preparing the chicken was our first step. We thoroughly rinsed it, patted it dry, and then submerged it in cold water in a large pot. To this, we added our chopped vegetables and minced garlic, along with bay leaves, thyme, and a generous pinch of salt and pepper. This formed the base of our flavorful broth. We brought this pot to a boil, then reduced the heat and let it gently simmer for about 1.5 hours. This slow cooking process allowed us to extract the maximum flavor and nutrients from our ingredients. And remember, if you see any foam forming on the surface, just skim it off. Once the broth was ready, we removed the chicken, allowed it to cool, and then shredded the meat from the bones. We strained the broth to ensure a smooth and clear soup, and then returned the shredded chicken to the pot, adding fresh carrots and celery for a delightful crunch. Finally, we brought our soup to a gentle boil once more, letting it simmer until the vegetables were tender, and adjusted the seasoning to taste. This final simmering step is crucial to allow all the flavors to meld together beautifully. And there you have it, a simple step-by-step guide to creating the perfect chicken soup. From the careful selection of ingredients to the slow simmering process, every step is designed to ensure a flavorful, comforting bowl of soup that's sure to bring a smile to your face. Remember, cooking is an art, and with practice, patience, and a dash of love, you can master the art of making the perfect chicken soup. For more recipes and cooking tips, subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you never miss an update from us. Check out our other videos for more culinary inspiration. Until next time, keep cooking, enjoy.